Okay, everyone. Welcome to the graphic design masterclass for all designers. We are grateful to have you on board, and we are grateful to have you participating in Core One. I am Miss Gravis, and I have served in the uh, graphic design world for the past two years now. Yeah, I can say 2 years. I've served in this space all the time, and I've helped many people with graphic design. I've facilitated for workshops. I've teach as some technical institution helping people learn graphic design. I think I have few of my students on the line who are taught beginner and they here now to learn mastery when it comes to graphic design. So this is me. I don't like to praise myself, but these are just few things I've done. And my area of expertise is corporate and business design, marketing design, brand promotion, birthdays and celebration flyers, creative posters, and social media design. So this is me. It has been an amazing time having you guys on the class, and I want to say we are getting started with the first part of our note. The biggest question is what is graphic design? I know uh, one way or the other, you guys have learned graphic designing from school, or maybe sometimes people just get into graphic designing without knowing what actually is graphic designing or how it came about or stuff like that. And for the sake of this masterclass, we will do a quick overview on what is graphic designing, and then we will go into our actual lesson for today. So I just want you to pay attention, or I just want you to pay keen attention to this part. I'm coming shortly. I just want you to pay keen attention to this part as we will be doing a full explanation on what actually is graphic design. So for my definition, over the past years I've known for graphic design, I define graphic design as a creative process that combines art and technology to communicate ideas. This is one of the simplest definitions of graphic design. Graphic design is a creative process. So it's a creative process, not just a process, but you have to be creative about it, combining art and technology in such a way that almost everything, like maybe 80% of everything a graphic designer can do or artists can do it. But it will take them a long time getting your result, right? So the the art part of graphic design and the technology part of graphic design, let me just break it down in the simplest form, right? Back then, when there was no computer or computer didn't have this graphic interface, people rely on artists to do all these jobs, coming up with information or coming up with flyers or doing publicity. People depend on artists, or currently people aren't fully depending on artists to do their work. If a church having 10 or 20 years ago, if a church having a revival, they will look all around in the community or in the country for artists who will use pen and press to do revival. we're going to do this, and then read up bulky information on one white cloth so that they can hang it around. That was graphic design back then. That was art, no, art, astray or what. So that was art back then. And when people desire started growing for more, or wanting to put picture or doing this, it take the artist long time to come up with these things, especially when you see the fuller stores where they putting their name and drawing the tissue, the paper, or drawing all these things they selling, right? The artist take maybe the 1 week to do that simple thing, and he uses a lot of tools. He uses a lot of things that designer can use. So this group of people came up to combine art and then putting technology to communicate the same idea that will satisfy the client. So now you can use your computer with the artist tools and then come up with the same idea or communicate the same idea. So right now, we can just go on the internet, download tissue or do this flyer, print it out, and put it on our shop or post it on Facebook or anywhere we want to post it. But back then, the artists will take weeks to do these things, and it will take a lot of time or money to do these things, right? So that's how they combine art and technology to communicate this idea. It involves the use of visual elements to convey messages, evoke emotions, and solve problems through design. So it involves the use of visual elements. What are the visual elements? The lines, the shape, the colors, the typography, texture, pattern. These are elements of design. Images, right? These are elements of design. So each of these flyers you see on your screen is having visual elements. You can see various like, oh sorry, as you can see, as you can see, this having various elements. Like, let me see if I can pull one. Okay, so we have shape here, we got typography, within the background we got texture, we got image, the hamburger, we have icons, we got gradients. So these are all visual elements, and all these elements combine to give this particular design. So this is how they come up with graphic design with the use of visual elements to convey messages, evoke feelings or emotions. So all these flyers you see here, these 5 flyers you see here, they are invoking a particular emotions and solving a particular problem. The first one is invoking that birthday mood, right? That happy mood. The next one, wedding, is in excitement, and it one enticing your appetite for hamburger. This one more like creative, and then this one it giving you that vibing, maybe to represent, not to represent your best, but that even like stuff, to be like I'm forced to attend this show. I'm forced to attend this show. Praising will be there. I'm forced to, you know. So all these are giving a particular emotion in solving a particular problem. So how does your design solve a particular problem? Uh, these people, bigger large, having an event, and they want people to attend. So it's a problem. How they get the message across? They need flyers, they need publicity, or let's say they need publicity. How are they going to tell people through flyer? So it's a problem in me having to do that design. I've solved their problem because they get to generate money through their event, and then through with the help of the flyer, telling people of the event, the solve problem, maybe getting people to attend, and then getting money from the event. These are major problems. So when you are designing, think of your design to be solving a particular problem. Graphic design use Graphic designer use variety of tools and techniques to create visual contents for print, digital media, and beyond. So this explain itself uh, in a way such that as a graphic designer, the as a graphic designer, sorry, you get to use various tools, various tools and techniques to create your visual content. So you get to use CorelDRAW, you get to use Photoshop, you get to use Canvas, you get to use Pixela, you get to use just anything, right? You get to use just anything to get your visual content done. You are free or at will to use it, right? You can say like I choose to design with CorelDRAW, I choose to use Photoshop, I choose to use this, I choose to use that to do my design, right? Once you master that software or that application, you can go well with it. And then various techniques. All of us on the line right now have our own techniques of designing. So if you were giving one of these files to redesign, everybody will come up with different techniques, and we will see we will see everybody applying their various techniques on project submission, right? So if we having to give every one of us a particular project, you'll see people doing their design, placing their image one side, people doing this, people doing that. Everybody using various techniques to create their content, either for print, digital media, or beyond. So there are two reasons, major reasons you will be designing for. So it's either you designing to print it or for digital media. Digital media can be a website or social media places, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that, or LinkedIn. So you you as a designer or graphic designer, you should firstly get to know what you're doing this design for, because it help you getting your design or your content done. If if you having to do like I did this design, this wedding stuff, I actually did it for social media. I didn't do it for print media or print discipline. So if I'm going to do it for print, I'm going to make the writing went down here big so that it can be visible, because that's what print media demand. So if, as I said, like if I'm going designing this for print design, I'm going to increase the font size so that when you print it, it will be more visible. But for digital media, the the users, once they're interested in your flyer, they are will to zoom whatever information they want to see clearly. So it's not about you making the writing very small or very big. Once somebody interested in the flyer, they can zoom at whatever position their phone can zoom so that they can get the information they want. Okay? And then this is graphic design explained in this one single paragraph. Any question? Okay, so we go to the next part of the note. In We'll be talking about alignment. Now we're discussing the principles of graphic design, but at a master level, not beginner level. Alignment, what it really means. Alignment is how elements share common axis, edges, center, or baseline. When items click to the same visible line, They seem invisible line. Their eyes can skim a line path, thrust goes up, and the message is clear. Alignment is the placement of visual elements so that they line up in a composition. In design, we use alignment to organize elements, to group elements, to create balance, to create structure, to create connection between elements, to create a sharp and clear outcome. In design, there are two alignment principles, the edge alignment and the center alignment. Center alignment is often an invisible line visual element that align to but also can be hinted at, at physically. Alignment can be used to achieve a particular look or feel. One should always be conscious when working with alignment to achieve the intended result. So the alignment principle, uh, as we said, right, there are two major alignment principles, and there is the edge alignment and then the center alignment. So most beginner designers face this major problem when it comes to designing or mastering alignment. They they sometimes get at maybe at most two or three stuff outside the alignment, whether that's center alignment or like right alignment. So as a professional designer or as a master designer, it's very important that you pay attention to details when it comes to alignment, because alignment is just as a straight line, as I said. Like once you, if you're looking at your screen right now, you know there's an invisible line at this particular part of this place, because you see how is straight or how is a line just from this point to this point. See how is a line without even this line being on it, right? So imagine maybe if we have one of the paragraph outside, you already know it's off the alignment. So as a designer, you should pay attention to the alignment principle. And these are the edge alignment. The edge alignment can be the lower uh, left, the lower right, upper right, and upper left. So when you are designing, like all almost like all the flyers you see in graphic design follow the alignment principle. It's either the items are aligned edge by the edge or is aligned in the center. Let's take a look at this flyer above. So here we have center alignment. We have center alignment here, and then here we have the same center alignment here, and then this one still go the same center alignment, and this is the same center alignment here. And I think I will show you some. Uh, so all these are center alignment. You you will see edge alignment as we go through the class or when we are doing some practical work. And this is the center alignment. A good alignment, no matter the amount of contents that you use, like you see this, everything is lined up on all edges and sides. But once your work looks something like this, it's a by alignment. So it's important that nothing go outside each other. Like nothing go outside the box or outside the line. That's a perfect alignment. But when you are designing, it's so good that modern Photoshop have this part, more modern Photoshop have this part where you get to you get to uh, use that line that can come on your screen when you design it. There's a purple line that can come on your screen when you design it to help you uh, do your alignment properly. So, but back then, Photoshop wasn't using it. You wasn't able to use Photoshop like that. Let me just share my entire screen. Well, in class, man. So you see this poster is left alignment. Once the major information you give me is on the left or on the right, you take the alignment principle. So you can use your grid line for aligning items, or you use Photoshop alignment. But if you can see, it's not coming there. So you as you can see, Photoshop can help with alignment. You see all these purple line are coming on your screen. It's telling you it's in proportion or it's in alignment with settings other element on your web page. So you can use it as you want if it pleases you. So modern Photoshop help you with this type of alignment, and you can just do a perfect alignment when it comes to paying attention to details on your graphics work. And then what will I do? Alignment can be a simple or complex, and is commonly achieved with the use of grid. As I said, a grid can create an invisible structure on which visual element can be placed on. This grid can show accurate alignment and consistency in large pieces of design work. Nowadays, grids are typically constructed in design software as a card when layout is created on your computer. So how we can get the grid when you designing? Let me create a new page. So how do we get the alignment on our page? Um, the How do we get the grids? As we are talking about the grids on the page, right? You come to view on your Photoshop menu bar. Everybody should know that. And you come to cards, and then you can choose new card. Sorry, you can choose the new card layout. Sorry, the new card layout. And once you select the new gallery, you'll see your workspace like this. So this is saying that here is the preset if you want to save a particular preset for your work. Then this is the target, your workspace, the canvas. Then the color of your grid should be this color, or you can separate the color work for your background. Hope you guys following. This is the color that work for your background. In the color in the row, you you sometimes will be faced with large projects, maybe magazine project. Like having to work, if you having to do something like this, right? If you want this type of alignment, you kind of facing how to set it up in Photoshop, you can now use the row and the column to give you that same layout. Okay, so as I was saying, go let us go back. You come to view, and then you come to cards, come to new card layout. The new card layout give you a proportion for various alignments when you want to use grids on your work. Sometimes you can be opportune to receive large contracts or maybe magazine contracts, and you want to set up this type of alignment like you see here. Commission like you see here, if maybe your client want this type of layout or you want to do this type of layout, like I think I've used this type of layout on a particular project before. Let me just see if I can find it. Okay, I did this for this school where I'm working, and this is maybe the similar alignment we see in the nuclear. We see similar alignment we see in the nuclear when it comes to alignment, right? And you see, you want to use a particular grid for your entire work. You can use it, and then to give you a free workspace to place objects or images or typography in a particular way, right? So you can just use your grid, you come to your view, and then come to create, come to new grid layout, and then choose the amount of column, you choose the amount of row you want. Then come back to the same project here, you choose the amount of column, you choose the amount of row. So we say we want like 5 columns and 5 row, or 4 row, 3 rows. The quarter is the amount of space between each grid line. Each grid line, the amount of space you want in between each grid line. So you can set it to 5 or 10, and then you see the spaces will decrease. So that's how the column in a row and grid works. But if you don't want to use column and row grid, or you want to, especially when you are doing social media posts or you are designing flyer, it's very very important that you set your margin. And this is one of the most common mistakes that designer makes. They just go about designing till the design reach the edge of the work. So it's best that you set your margin on your page. It is measuring pixel, so the best size is 100 pixel. My top, right, left, and bottom, set it to 100 pixel. So as a master designer, if you do any flyer as a master designer, and once you attending the class onward, if you're doing any flyer, give your work a margin. Sometimes your margin can be all the way to maybe 200 or 150, and you can still work with it like this. So the most important part of your page, or any workspace or any flyer, is what actually is in the center of this page. Anything you place in the center of this page is what the eye will catch on first. So anytime somebody look at your work, what's in the center of this page?